Vincenzo's Go Crypto Investing this July the 30th, 2025 nightly cryptocurrency and blockchain technology update. And we had a lot of market move today. Copper had the biggest one-day decline in copper futures history based off of Trump taking out most of the copper and the tariffs that he originally said about 3 weeks ago that was going to be in there, and it brought copper to an all-time high of nearly $6 a pound. And at the same time, the U.S. economic data came out great, according to their data. So the Federal Reserve did not do anything with interest rates, and they kept them the same. And in the foreseeable future, now the market's seeing that they're probably going to not lower them right now. And commodities have fallen with copper. Silver was down 4%, palladium and platinum. And the Bitcoin price and the major cap coins had a big reaction today, and they were to the downside. And you can see, which is very interesting, and bell notification, comment down below, like the channel and share to get our truth, trust, education, and information. And join us and our goal to become asset millionaires. And it's as easy and as cheap as $3.99 a month to help support the channel to keep these videos coming. And you can see we had a 17 to 18 day consolidation there in our track. And look at what's funny from the high. And if we go from the high, look where we're at right now. We're on day 17, right? So this thing, and look at, we can even break this down even more if we get into the 4-hour time frame. You can see even more. Look at what just happened here at the very end. We had our big dump down. Then we came up. Now we're consolidating. And look at, we made right now a higher low. And that could be what now capitulates us up and starts to break out, which is just like you did here. You see right here, you had your capitulation, which is right here's capitulation, right? And then look what you did here. You came up and you pumped, then formed a high, which had a higher low, and then you took off, right? And look at what you just did right there, the same exact thing. So that's what we're watching. And if this does break up, like we've been telling you, ever since this consolidation started, 155,000 or near there is the upper target, right? And that's what we'd be watching for. On the downside, obviously, you start at the 50-day at 112,000, and then the pattern support level, the multi-year, about a 3-year pattern support level, which is the rising channel support, right? And blue or purple right there, which is just below the 100-day moving average, and those would be your major underneath supports right now with the Bitcoin price. The Ethereum price is the same thing. Right now, you had a big reaction today. You actually pivoted way down. Now you've recently pumped back up, and you obviously have the $4,053, which is your megaphone neckline resistance, because if you break out of that, the pattern is a $10,000 target with a initial resistance of 48.33. Obviously underneath, your major underneath support is 34.72, the top part of this green trading zone. And your ultimate support is this medium-term rising channel in purple down there, which is running about the 100-day moving average at $3,059 and change, right? But this megaphone pattern in the long term, irregardless if we have short-term bear markets or short-term corrections, you can see that megaphone pattern in red. You can see where we have our sort of our pull, where we started our uptrend. Then we had our, over multiple years, our major horizontal upper resistance there in red, and then we had a descending lower support over the years forming our megaphone pattern. And if that does break out, and these are bullish patterns, you have a $10,000 target in the long term, even though there could be 30% corrections to the downside on the way up there. XLM, same thing. You can see we're trying to, after coming down on a consolidation, right now we're still below 43 cents. We got as low as 39 cents. We've been telling you if we stay below this 43 cents, we're short-term bearish, and it's going to act like a magnet coming down towards that 36 cents and that 50-day moving average that is right on top of that. The 100-day moving average is in between there, and the 200-day moving average is just below the bottom part of that green support and resistance box, right? And you can see the tracks did have that pump, but those same tracks did have a consolidation here. And right now, as long as you're below that, your underneath magnet, is the 36 cents. Let's get that back down there. That's why that's usually locked. Let's lock that. Is that 36 cents? If you can reclaim that 43 cents, that's how you can make another run at the 55 cents. But right now you're short-term bearish because you're below that 43 cents. If you get below the 50-day moving average and that 36 cents, the top part of this green trading zone, then you become very medium-term bearish too, along with short-term bearish. The XRP, you can see, is sitting just above the 307 major support level that we're at, because if it gets below this 307, it's going to start to act like a magnet down to this 100-day moving average. Initially, at first, the 50-day moving average. And if you get below that 307, you're short-term bearish, right? And if you do slip below that, the 255 will act as a magnet too, along with that 100-day moving average that's right on top of it. And that's your major support level if you can't hold this 307. Because if you got below the 255, you would immediately become short to medium-term bearish again. If you get below the 307, you're short-term bearish. If you get below the 255, you are medium-term bearish, right? And maybe long-term bearish, but medium-term bearish for sure. And then you would be looking at, if you got below the 255, coming all the way down to the 200-day moving average. If you want to stay bullish and keep this momentum going, you got to stay above the 307 and work your way back up towards that 376J. And if we look at what some news was going on here today, Bitcoin hit a record high, as we know, about 10 days ago. Bitcoin overheating signals easing is a second half rally ahead. That's what we're paying attention for on this consolidation. Harry's opens corporate crypto wallet account. What does that mean? Harry's manufacturing. Don't care. Bitcoin price falters as Fed and Bank of Canada hold interest rate steady. That's what we were talking about at the beginning of this. Cardano eyes 1000x explosion. Says Bitcoin out of steam. How Jerome Powell could ignite the next potential bull market. The daily White House group outlined roadmap for golden age of crypto. Confirmed snapshot taken for upcoming token airdrop. White House working group released lengthy crypto report, including legislative proposals, crypto stockpile details. So there's some news here that we'll get into, but it's late for me. I'm going to be getting to go to bed. And then we'll get into this tomorrow. There is an altcoin video out right now. It is for Jabroni Killer members, and I like to give them a 6 or 8 hour advantage on those types of videos for being members of Jabroni Killers. Peace and love. The Rex Eyebrow, Jay.